So I wanted to do a short video on peppers, specifically Chipotle. I'll start there. Chipotle's become probably one of the most used pepper seasonings, um, at least in the last, I'll say, 10 or so years. It's really gotten popular. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how do you make Chipotle. You can go out and buy Chipotle, or you can make it yourself if you have a garden, or if you just go pick up some jalapenos from the grocery store, you can make Chipotle. This really small batch of jalapenos, yes, all of these are jalapenos sitting in front of me. I just pulled these off the plants. And I want to talk a little bit about what you're looking at here. Most of the time, actually all of the time, you go to the supermarket, you pick jalapenos. This is the color that you would pull off the grocery stores. That's what they sell. A green jalapeno is a jalapeno that is unripened. When you see a red jalapeno, that's a ripe jalapeno. And that's when a jalapeno actually has its full flavor. Green jalapenos are not, they don't have the sweet and the heat at the same time. If you want the sweet plus the heat, you wait until your jalapeno ripens on the vine if you're actually growing them yourself. You might ask why these leaves are here, because I love colorful leaves. These leaves were actually hanging on the jalapeno plants when I went out to pick these. What I wanted to show you is, which is why you see peppers with this brownish or almost purplish looking color on them. These are jalapenos that are starting to turn. And sometimes you get little oddly shaped jalapenos like this, but these peppers are just starting to turn red. They turn this dark color that you see here, and then they start to shift. That kind of looks like I'm rotting, but it's not. Then they start to shift to the red color that you see. You also notice something that you don't usually see in the supermarkets. You see these striations, or what I call stretch marks, on the peppers. This is when you stress the peppers out. A way that you can make your peppers a lot hotter when you grow them is you basically stress them out by ratcheting your water back. Don't water them as much. Let that ground dry out. It makes them very hot. So they usually say the more stretch marks that you have on them, probably the more heat that those peppers have. I mean, I know that the peppers that grow here are definitely a little warm. Now on to Chipotle. Chipotle is really easy to make. Take your jalapenos, put them in a smoker for 2 to 3 hours, pull them off the smoker, and dry them out. You can use a dehydrator to dry your peppers out. You dry them out, and then you simply grind it up. And that's Chipotle seasoning. People use Chipotle seasoning to mix with other things. They put it in mayonnaise, you get a Chipotle mayo. They put it in dressing sometimes, you get a Chipotle dressing. But you can really make that yourself. Again, smoke it for 2 to 3 hours, pull it off, dry them out until they're completely dry, and you simply pulverize them. And you make it into a powder, and you sprinkle as much of that powder onto whatever you're cooking or whatever type of sauce you're making, and you have Chipotle. It's really easy, and you can make it to your own heat level. If you pull the seeds out before you grind them up, it'll be a milder Chipotle. If you let all the seeds stay in there, you're gonna have a little bit more heat to your Chipotle. But you can also adjust your heat just by putting a little bit of Chipotle seasoning in your meal. So that's just a little quick tip on how you make Chipotle. Those jalapenos that we talked about last week, they are ready to go in the smoker. They'll smoke for 2 to 3 hours. And then I'll pull these puppies out and dry them off. You can see some of those color changes that I was talking about earlier. If you look at this one here, you can see this pepper changing. It's about halfway changed. Well, not even halfway. On the inside, it looks like halfway. On the outside, not quite. So I'll post another short one when these things come out of the smoker. So the peppers have come off the smoker, and I'm just beginning to load them up into the dehydrator. And it's just a stack dehydrator where I load the peppers or whatever it is that I'm trying to dry, load them in, make sure that I get them even so that the peppers, well, that the unit doesn't actually lose heat and it dries a little more efficiently. I can't fit them all in the dehydrator, so these peppers will go in the fridge while these guys are drying. And it'll take a long time to dry. I don't have the biggest dehydrator, but it gets the job done. I just pop them in there and leave them on for the better part of a day or so. Jalapenos are a bit thicker than other peppers, so they take a little bit longer. Serranos are the same way. And I'll tune back in when I get to that next phase of grinding. Oh, here it is. This is the last step to finishing off your chipotle. After you've dried your chipotle peppers, you want to take them to whatever grinder you use. I use this guy. No magic to it. You can do whatever kind of grinding that you want. I stick it on this guy. Turn it on, grind it up, and basically turn it into powder. When you're done with it, you've got your chipotle. It takes a lot of peppers to get a good amount of chipotle out of it. So try it out.